Hello everyone, it's Rebecca here, and today I thought I would share with you some of my favourite reads from this quarter. So, as March is coming to an end, that signals the end of the first quarter of the year, obviously, because it is the third month. I've completed 10 books this quarter, which for me, I feel is really good. This year I have read a total of 10 books. One of those was a short story. 4 of those I want to say were graphic novels, and the rest were all physical books. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you my top 5 of this quarter. So starting off with an absolute doozy, which you can probably see, it's like when you put a buttercup under your neck, like look at that. Oh, okay. Starting off with an absolute doozy anyway, is Eve of Man by Tom and Giovanna Fletcher. Or Giovanna and Tom Fletcher, sorry. It's always, alphabetical first. So, for those of you who don't know, this one follows Eve, who is the first female born in 50 years. She kind of has the fate of the world on her shoulders. She basically lives in this, it's not really a compound, well it is kind of, where she has basically all of the care and attention of the elders, the mothers, who are basically, I got the impression they were like motherly nuns, essentially. They are all elderly ladies, and they care for and look after Eve, who is under the protection of this big corporation. It's set in a futuristic society. Obviously it is very dystopian. What happens if women just stop giving birth to girls, and then all of a sudden Eve comes along 16, 17, 18 years down the line, she's gonna have to start thinking about reproducing. So we basically follow Eve as she's coming to the terms with the fact that actually not everything is as it seems, and when she needs to try and find a suitor, maybe the right person has been around all along. And you guys, I don't normally fall for romance, but this, oh my god, it's not fully romance. I'm very much laying heavily on the romance. It's not romance based. That does play an aspect, but there is a corporation, there's secrets, it's futuristic. I really enjoyed this. I think if you like the likes of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I think you would probably like this one. Don't ask me how, because they're not even linked in the slightest. This is a futuristic Earth, and obviously The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is futuristic world and universe. But I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and everybody who I've seen talking about it talks about it much better in a much more concise manner than I do. I will leave a link to the Goodreads down below where you can find not only my review but the general synopsis, because I feel like you're really gonna need it. But 5 out of 5 stars, highly recommend. Next up, I read an ebook. It was an ebook short, and it was the first book that I've ever read of Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yes, that's right, I tried Taylor Jenkins Reid for the first time, and it wasn't one of the popular ones. I know, shock. So I tried The Evidence of the Affair. I will put a picture up there. So I read The Evidence of the Affair. It's about 200 pages long, I think, and it is letter format, and this is exactly what it says on the tin. So our female lead writes a character to this gentleman and says, look, I have proof that my husband's been having an affair, and I think it's with your wife. And we follow that first letter being sent to the mail, his response, and then their little conversation back and forth. And I did not know that you could get so attached to two people so very quickly in a story. But as I said, this one's really short. It's only 170 pages long, I believe. But I couldn't believe it. I was so, like, physically and emotionally invested in these two characters who clearly had all of this backstory that you didn't need to know because it was kind of implied, and the implications were perfect for me. So I felt very much like I'd known at least one of these two people for all my life. I felt like I knew everything I needed to know, but at the same time I needed to know more. And we see their letters go back and forth, and at first the gentleman's in denial, and then, it starts to become kind of apparent that this lady's not wrong. Her husband's been having it away with his lass. Yeah, that's probably not the right way to say it. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I found myself, as I said, so invested in these characters. I was really gutted that it was over. And as far as I know, these characters don't actually appear in any of her other works. If they do, I'm so excited to come across that. But so far, as far as I know, they haven't. Yeah, really enjoyed it. It was such a interesting look into a situation that you really don't want to be put in, but at the same time, if you were put into it, you say you would do that. You say you would confront or let the other person's partner know, but realistically, would you? Like, does that make any sense? So if you found out your partner was cheating, I don't know why I went really quiet there. If you found out your partner was cheating, would you then send a letter to the person they're cheating with's partner to say, they're doing the dirty, what are you going to do about it? By the way, I'm really sorry that they're doing the dirty. Like, that kind of thing. Like, would you do that? I don't know. The next two that I want to talk about are two in a series, and they are graphic novels. Yes, graphic novels are featured on my top 5 of this quarter. I am really fussy when it comes to graphic novels, and I have Kindle Unlimited now, which is how I found Evidence of the Affair. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try some graphic novels. I tried Lumberjanes, I just couldn't get away with it. I felt like I'd been thrown in at the deep end in the middle of a series. So then I tried Giant Days, because I'd heard a few people talking about that one, and I was like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to take the plunge. They're really normally quite quick reads anyway, and oh my god, lapped it up. So I rated the first one 3 stars and the second one 4 stars. However, the first one, I felt like it was a little bit slow, but obviously it's the start of a series, so it kind of like builds up all of the context, the backstory, puts in place like all the little plot points for the future stories, and I did really enjoy it. The artwork was really nice as well, and I normally just flick through them straight away, but I really enjoyed this. So Giant Days follows a trio of young girls who go to university together. Now, when I'd read the first one, I knew obviously it was university in the UK, but I hadn't really clicked on where, and then I think it's either the second or the third one they mention a city, and I was like, hang on a minute, that's not that city. So I went on to Goodreads, and when I was leaving my review, somebody else had said the same as what I was thinking. Apparently, Giant Days is set in Sheffield in the UK. I don't think so. Like, when you look at the graphics, for starters, the weather is way too nice to be in the UK at all. Let's just leave it at that. I don't even need to go any further. The weather was just too good in that book. But yes, Giant Days follows 3 young girls at university. The trials, the tribulations, the tears, the laughter, the freshers flu. Oh my god, the freshers flu was such a problem. The assignments, the stress, the friendships made, the relationships, just everything that you can think of that you associate with university or college. That's what Giant Days is. And you know what? It was so nostalgic. I really enjoyed the first one. The second one just blew my mind. I absolutely loved it. It was 4 out of 5 stars for me. And from what I remember, it was because of one action that I really didn't like and I really didn't agree with. But it's a spoiler, so I can't really talk about it. But the second one follows on from the first one, and they're just going through the semesters, like sort of bit by bit. And every time I came to the end of a one, I was really gutted, but then I read the first 3 on Kindle Unlimited, and the 4th one was going to cost me quite a bit, so I'm waiting until payday to treat myself to the rest of the Giant Days volumes, because I need those in my life. So I have 1 more left, and it's a physical book, and if you follow me on Goodreads, it will be of no surprise, or if you follow me on Instagram, I think I've mentioned this on Instagram, but definitely on Twitter, and in a recent vlog, I believe. Possibly. I want to say I mentioned it in a recent vlog. I'll leave a card up above if I did. But it will come as no surprise to any of you that the final one in my top 5 of this quarter is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This book, my god, this book was just unbelievable. I absolutely loved it. I regret not picking it up sooner, in the same way that I regret not picking Eve of Man up sooner. I went out, actually, when I finished this, I went out the next day and bought the sequel, which I haven't read yet, but I am aiming to read in the coming weeks. I loved this. I flew through it. Becky Chambers has this way of writing characters and situations and scenes and setting everything up as if you already know everything. So you go in originally as the main character. Rosemary? Yes, Rosemary. So you go in believing you're in the same shoes as Rosemary. So you enter this world, this little world, as a little naive teenager, pretty much. That's how you feel. You feel like a naive teenager going to big school for the first time. And then Becky Chambers has this way of writing everything and introducing everything that you didn't even realise that you knew. So examples of language or history of beings, sort of other species, that kind of thing. You don't realise that you clearly don't know any of this because this is all made up by Becky Chambers, but at the same time you're like, oh yeah, that does make sense. And then you finish the book and you're like, how did that make sense? Like, before this book, before those pages, I never heard anything about that language or that species or that world, like the whole thing. and it's very cleverly written. I feel like it is so well done. You connect with so many characters and you are made to feel like you are part of the family on The Wayfarer. And when a book does that and it grabs you and really fully pulls you in, that's the sign of a good book. Just unbelievable. So if you don't know, I may get on to the synopsis now. If you don't know, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet follows young Rosemary Harper. She is looking for a way out of the situation she is currently in. She lies basically to get onto the Wayfarer, which is a ship that sort of plots little holes in space and time to then go through, well, not time but space, to make their way through little wormholes, to seal them up, fix whatever's on the other side, and then wormhole back out. That is the gist of their job. It's quite a shady job at times, but you know, it's still a job, it needs doing. And obviously, if you're on a ship, you're in very close proximity with a bunch of other people. In this case, a bunch of other species. So I believe that other than the captain, the only other human on this ship is Rosemary. The rest are all aliens or species, well, not aliens, but like species, different species, or they are half human, half another species, I think. I may be wrong, I said species quite a lot. But anyway, we follow Rosemary, as I said, as she's thrown into this world in an admin position, and it ends up being so much more than that. And I absolutely adore this, if you can't tell. This one was a clear 5 out of 5 stars, and I need to pick up the second one, which is a closed and common orbit, I think. I need to pick that one up soon, but I absolutely adored this. So there we have it. Those are my top 5 of 2020 quarter 1. What have been your top 5 of this quarter so far? Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I have read them. Maybe we feel the same. Just you know, do the little typey. And if you go into the description below, you'll find a link to all of my social media channels, including my Goodreads, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my blog, because let's face it, they are my social feeds. Go say hi on any of those platforms. I would love to be friends. And yes, that was my husband. You could hear coughing in the background. He does not have the virus. He doesn't have the virus, he's just got a cough. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're staying safe, I hope you're staying healthy, and I hope that this is over soon, because I'm already going stir crazy and we're not even a week into it. But yes, I shall chat with you all later, and I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye!